Greetings, everyone. Gabriel here. It's been a little while. I've kind of neglected this YouTube channel, but I'm back. This is going to be a video with messages for all earth signs. So that's Capricorn, Taurus, and Virgo for the month of April 2020. Focusing on, in general, the nature of the great choice that you will have to make this month. What kind of decisions will greatly impact your life this month? What are the causes and circumstances behind those decisions? And what are the implications of those decisions? That's what we're going to be looking at. So, without much further ado, take a deep breath. Center yourself in whatever way works best for you. And let's begin. So earth signs, the first thing that comes up for me here when we're looking at your choice, which is here represented by the crossroads, or sometimes it's called the ways. A huge thing for you for the month of April is going to be taking ownership over your emotions. Here we have the heart, which represents the entire array of everything that you can feel, the good, the bad, everything in between. We also have the sun, which represents consciousness, right? Things that you know. Bouquet, which is a variety of things, all the, things that kind of come together in their own natural package. And then house, that which is inside. I think it's going to be very important for you for the month of April to be firmly rooted in the emotions that truly belong to you. I know, calling yourself an empath is kind of a very in vogue thing right now, but especially with everything that's going on in the world with all of this coronavirus stuff, and I think everybody's in a period of social isolation, it can kind of become unclear what emotions are yours and what emotions maybe don't belong to you or maybe belong to somebody else. And here we are. So both of the significators are here. I think it could be possible that you are maybe saying things or engaging with other people in a way that's actually contributing to your own anxiety in a greater way. You're kind of buying into that thing where you talk and you talk and you talk and you talk to other people and they talk to you, and everybody's just kind of emoting and nobody's really centered in the here and now. And all of that is kind of spinning and feeding into maybe not just necessarily a sense of anxiety, but just that kind of mental chatter, right? So here we have the birds, which, among other things, can represent kind of that constant dialogue that we all have going on in the head. We have the child here. When I'm kind of combining these two together, I'm kind of getting that almost like childlike babble, that internal dialogue that's almost like nonsensical babble that just keeps going on and on and on. Um, and then here we have the coffin, which kind of brings that, very fatalistic sense. I realize we're all feeling a lot of very heavy energy right now. And this kind of makes me think that maybe you're being a little careless with your own social hygiene, right? Many people are kind of taking to social media right now to kind of fill that gap, and that's a wonderful thing. I'm not saying that that's a bad thing, but remember that it is still very important for you to be the guardian of what you let into your mind space. Yes. I think a lot of you may be suffering from, you're really seeing the vices that you've had inside kind of come up to the surface, right? Are the social interactions that we're all craving right now, but are the social interactions that you're taking part in, are they poisoning you? Are they actually becoming venomous? Is this isolation period, does it really have to be a period of suffering for you? Because I think for many of you earth signs, if we're talking about your great choice this month, the great decision that you have to make in your life right now, I think for many of you, you've been actually experiencing this kind of social isolation for a lot longer than, what is now being dictated to us in an effort to stem the spread of the virus. I think for many of you earth signs, you've actually been pulling into yourself for quite some time, right? I think for many of you, you've been experiencing these cycles of depression, this kind of closed off, where it feels as though your soul is just kind of walked away from the world as it is here and now, and you're kind of feeling this sense of isolation. Or rather, you've been feeling this sense of isolation for a long period of time. I think it's going to be critical for many of you to examine where your loyalties lie. I mean, and this is, common knowledge. This doesn't have to be in the cards, but many people are going to be experiencing a period of unemployment. And for those of you that do experience that, some of you may have to find completely new jobs. I think for some of you, not all of you, but I think for some of you, this is actually a much larger karmic lesson. Maybe that sense of ennui, that sense of just overall, I'm not okay. I think that has existed a long time before this period where it feels like the world is closing down. And now that current circumstances have found you out of work, or maybe given you this space in your life where you can reevaluate what your job means to you, if you find yourself in that case, then I think it's a much larger message, right? It's a karmic cycle. You are not working that job because you should not be working that job anymore. You are not in that line of work because it was not serving you. It had outfilled its purpose, or outlived its purpose, pardon me. And now kind of we're entering into this critical period where you need to show yourself the compassion to figure out exactly what you want to do with your life, right? So many of us, when we work, it takes up a huge span of our time, of our attention, of our energy. And for those of you who are about to have to find a new job, I think that the critical message here is that you need to you need to take a good look at what your job means to you and what you want out of your job, right? What, how does it fill your heart? Everything in your life should be beautiful or meaningful in some way, including your job. And I think for those of you who are furloughed or are about to be laid off, because many of us are about to be laid off, I think this is a critical opportunity. It's kind of that window where you can find out what your job really means to you, right? What should it be? And I think you're going to be making new commitments to things. So here we have the Rider, which is something coming into your life. The Ring, a commitment, a cycle, being bound to something, entering into a new phase. The Key, which is almost like an exclamation mark, that which is important. Whenever the key comes up, we look at the things around the key and we say, hey, pay attention to this. And then we have the Moon. It's going to be very important for you to make the next set of decisions, right? The big choices that you're going to have to make. What jobs you're going to apply to. Do you choose to go back to school? Are you going to reapply to a job in the same field? All of those decisions need to be made from a place of abiding with this difficult energy. All of us are experiencing this kind of unsettled, restless, panicky, nervous, everything up in the air type of energy, right? The world feels very scary right now if we don't keep that feeling in check. The message of these cards here is that in order for you to make this decision, this kind of change in life circumstance decision, in order for you to make that decision and for it to truly cycle you into this next phase of your life, you're going to have to quiet that mental chatter. I think it's going to be very important for you to learn how to remove yourself or act in a way that is as removed as possible so that you're not just throwing yourself into something and kind of recreating the same set of circumstances. It's also going to be very important. This is kind of reiterating the same message. It's going to be important for you to have the self-agency, for you to kind of cut things off when they need to be cut off, when things no longer are filling you, when they're no longer affirming you. You need to be able to have that sense of power and orchestrate that sense of power in your own life to nip those things in the bud. This entire pandemic is almost like a giant new moon, right? We're all being asked to stay at home, examine, go inward, see what is there at the core, explore the depths. And Earth signs, I feel like this is kind of the greater message for you in order for you to make that decision. And I keep going back to work. I think many of you are going to experience a period of either being furloughed, even if you're not laid off. I mean, pretty much for all of us, there's a period where we're going to be stuck at home. And for many of you, for those of you who are either, in sales positions, or you work in hospitality or the food and restaurant business, something like that, you're going to go through a period where, there aren't going to be a whole lot of answers. And the key for you to make this big decision of what do I do next is going to be calming that mental chatter, taking a step back. Maybe not even taking the advice of friends or family, those people who mean well, but don't really understand the narrative as you have been experiencing it. I think it's going to be very important for you to make these decisions on your own. because they are part of a larger karmic cycle, and it's important for you to express your self-agency in breaking that cycle. Earth signs, I hope that this was helpful for you. Um, Again, my name is Gabriel. I have been reading Lenormand for quite some time, but unfortunately, it's not always easy for me to regularly post on YouTube, but I'm going to try to jump back into it now that we all have a whole lot of time. I am available to do private readings for free, no cost. In addition to Lenormand, I also read tarot and geomancy as well. So like, comment, subscribe, let me know what you think, but until next time.